Hello and welcome back to Rhonda Says, Healthy Living from A to Z. Today we are on chapter J for joints. In your corrective work, you've been working on this, and I'm so excited, and I hope that you've been working on this to the point that you're really seeing results. Maybe things are moving better, maybe you're out of pain, or maybe you're noticing a decrease in pain at least. That's the exciting part about working with the joints. All of the joints should be working like they're supposed to. We want them to do their jobs. So we're going to start with the feet. And what are you noticing with your feet? Are you noticing that you can walk barefoot without pain? Are you noticing that you feel more stable in your feet? Your feet should be, by doing the towel drags and the marble pickups especially, you should be getting some nice muscle in the arch of your foot. And we want that. We want that arch to be strong. So some people have trouble with their feet kind of collapsing in. They pronate. If that's you, that means that you need to continue to work on getting that arch back. Some people supinate. They want to walk on the outsides of their feet. Same thing, you want to draw those feet back down and ground them. So sometimes I tend to want to supinate. I used to stand like that all the time as a child. And so sometimes if I'm doing work with foot stability, I have to remember to drive my big toe down. If you already are on that side, you may have to think about driving the opposite side down. But keep working on foot stability because it is the basis. It is the foundation of all the other movements that we're doing. Have a seat. Look at your ankles. The ankles should be able to move in all direction without pain. So you should be able to circle them to one side, circle them to the other side, rock them back and forth, pull the toes back, point the toes forward. It's a multi-moving joint. Now if you have a joint replacement, if you have a lot of pins in your ankle, those kinds of things of course are going to restrict your movement, but you still want to work towards the best range of motion that you can get as an individual. Knee stability, stand up. If your knees are getting more stable, you should be finding that your knees are less painful. If you still are having knee problems, if you still feel pain in your knees, a couple of things to consider. What's going on at the ankles? What's going on at the hips? And are you working to get those posterior chain muscles nice and strong, specifically the glutes? If you're doing all of those things perfectly and you still have knee pain, you may want to have that checked out. So our knees are stable. We move up to the hips. The hips, once again, just like the ankle, they're multi-movement joints. So are you able to move your hips in every single direction without pain? So if I have Hannah to stand and I have her to kick her foot forward and then I have her kick her foot back and then we go out to the side, those are some of the very common movements, right? We walk with it forward and back. We step to the side, but we should also be able to circumduct it. So moving it in a circle. If you move the whole hip joint in a circle and the foot is circling to the inside, the foot is circling to the outside, it should be able to do that without pain. Also, we should be able to internally rotate the hip. We should be able to externally rotate the hip. All of those movements should be pain-free. Once again, if you can't do that, and you're not sure if you have any injuries or not, check to see if you have injuries. But if you just seem tight, like I just can't get those to loosen up, you're working on the hip mobility, but also work on knee stability and lumbar spine stability. A lot of times when people have tight hips, they're going to have low back pain. All right, the next joint is the low back. So if we're looking at the lumbar spine, I'm going to have Hannah to turn sideways. We've talked about this lumbar spine and how it should be stable. If you're still moving, like if you bend forward and use this. If you bend through this joint, you are going to hurt this joint. So, and she automatically will hinge back, which she did a little bit much. Don't hinge back for me and just bend. That's what most of you really look like. Go ahead and stand up. She doesn't do that naturally, thank goodness. And I want you to not do that naturally either. So like she hinged her hips back to bend, you should be hinging and bending at those hips. So go ahead and come up, good job. So one of the things that you can look at is if most places that you look on how to pick heavy objects off the floor will tell you to squat, I don't like that. I prefer that you would deadlift because squatting is more in the knees. It's more of a knee dominant. You know, the powerhouse, once again, is the glutes. Be hip dominant. If you deadlift something so that you're hinging the hips back and then you're bending your knees and lifting something off the floor, you've got all this powerhouse muscle to drive up with now instead of just feeling like you're having to use your quads for everything. So work on keeping that lumbar spine from moving by moving in the hips and moving in the T-spine. So remember, it's all connected all the way up. So our T-spine should be mobile. Do you have that 15 degrees of extension yet? If not, are you continuing to work on that? And then I'll have her to turn back. From there, we go to the scapula, which is in the back, and those muscles need to be stable. We've talked about that too. The thoracic mobility and the scapular stability is what is going to help with the glenohumeral joint being able to move in all ranges of motion. So just like we did the hip, you know, we should be able to go all the way up. We should be able to go all the way back. We should be able to go all the way to the outside, all the way to the inside. Cross the body in the front, cross the body in the back. We should be able to internally rotate, we should be able to externally rotate, and we should be able to circumduct. So all of those muscles should be working. The joint should be free to move. If you're really working on getting those muscles strong and mobile, the joint will move. Then we move up to the lower cervical spine. I can't say it enough. Those of us that grew up, you know, like doing aerobics classes and stuff in the 80s, and we would crank our whole neck over like this to get that good stretch, really caused some trouble in that cervical area. The lower cervical spine should be still. So if you're having a lot of neck pain, once again, look at the lower cervical exercises for the correctives, but then again, you're looking at the joint above it and below it. So you're looking at the shoulder joint. Is it moving properly? And you're looking at the upper cervical spine. Are you able to take your head and just move it around on the spine without the rest of the neck getting involved? So when you're dealing with your joints, keep at it, because it's so wonderful to be able to live life and go and do and not live in chronic pain all the time. So work on these correctives. It makes a huge difference. I see it every day in my practice. The people who do this at home, we know when they've practiced at home, don't we, Hannah? We do. We know when they're not doing it at home because they don't make any improvements. If you're doing this every day, because of the experiences that we have, we know you're getting better. There is no doubt. If you're doing it daily and you're doing it correctly, you are getting better. And that is so exciting, and it's what we want for you. So please, if you feel like you're not getting the results that you need, you may need to check with your doctor, or you may need to find someone that can help you with form on these things. So you may look into a physical therapist or a personal trainer. Do your research. Make sure that they know how to work with someone that's doing correctives. So you're going to be looking for someone with maybe a medical exercise background, or someone with post-rehab, pre-rehab exercise background. Those are the type of personal trainers that you would want to seek out for help with this. So please don't give up. Please stay encouraged. Every step forward, you're in the right direction. And I love the saying, I used to hear this when I was a teenager, if you fall flat on your face, you're still moving in the right direction, forward. So please keep at it. Don't get discouraged. We all have discouraging days. Even here at Rhonda Huff Fit, we come in some days and it's just harder to be upbeat and happy. We all have bad days. But stay encouraged. If you're in chronic pain, I know it's hard to have a good day. So I am wishing for you and praying for you to have a good day today. Keep doing what you can do. Keep moving your body. If you will just move, things do get better. So until next time, journey on.